Next up, we've got the wonderful, very hilarious Gill.
Oh, bloody hell. No pressure then. Welcome up north. I hope you're enjoying yourself. So everybody, I'm Gill. I performed on this very stage this time last year, and they told you a little porky. They said that we're all doing new material. Now, some of it's new, but if you're here last year, just pretend you haven't heard the first bit before and come along with me on the ride. There's been a bit of an evolution. So yeah, I was here a year ago, and the past year has absolutely flown by because I've been doing something that is really bang on trend. You'll all be interested to know that I've been having an identity crisis for the past year. When I was here last year, I'd just gone through something that was really, really life-changing. After years of worrying about it, after years of wondering what everybody would think when I finally told them, wondering if people would be the same with me, wondering how I'd feel, how I would do things differently, this time last year, I finally came out. Why is it always silence when I say it? I used to get a round of applause. But honestly, I don't know what I was... Thank you so much, Julian. Like your name. Honestly, I don't know what I was worried about. It's been a bloody brilliant year. After years and years of conforming, of fitting in a box, of not being able to wear what I wanted to wear, I have felt liberated. And I've spent the last year being my true, authentic self. I'm not ashamed to admit I bought a lot of jumpsuits in that year. I've had my nose pierced, and it's been a great reason to dye my hair pink on a regular occasion without my husband complaining about it too much. Now, my husband's been great. He's been really supportive. I think it's because he gets it, because he came out a few years ago as well. He did. It wasn't really for him, though, so he went back in quite quickly. And also, I think it's because I've had a really great group of supportive people around me as well. I realised quite quickly that when you're changing your identity and you're moving from one part of your life to another, you need to get a group and a good community around you. And I realised that I had quite a lot of friends who'd also come out in their 40s, and they were more than happy to help me out, especially the women. Oh, they couldn't wait to share the benefit of their experience. Things are a bit different with women, aren't they? It's nearly the same, but they're slightly nuanced, as you can imagine. If you've never come out, just use your imagination. So I was on the way over here today. I was on the train from Charlie, and I thought to myself, why was it that I was so worried about coming out of the army? But I think it's because I've been in the army for 24 years, and it was a big part of my life being in the army. It was a massive part of my identity. And I realised after being in the army for 24 years, I needed to get myself a new identity. So I realised that I should get myself a job. I needed to find something new to do with my life. I did what everybody else does in this day and age. It is 2024. And what I did was I looked to the universe for advice. Now, historically, I would have looked to God for advice because I was raised a Catholic. Well, I say a Catholic. I was a Northern Catholic. It means I was only baptised for schooling reasons and because Father Jude gave out free selection boxes at midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and it saved my mum a couple of quid. But I've had to come away from all that now after a particularly nasty incident that happened at the Vatican. Does everybody in here know what the Vatican is? Julian, do you know what the Vatican is? Yeah? You've been there? Oh, bloody hell, showboating. Christ, it's my turn now, not yours. What do you do? Well, the Vatican, for those of you that don't know, is the home of the Pope. The Pope is like the big daddy of Catholics. He's in charge of them all, us all, I suppose, them all. So I went to see the Vatican with my mate, Foxy Roxy. And when we were there, we went for a tour of the Vatican, and we went into a place called the Sistine Chapel. Now, if you don't know about the Sistine Chapel, it is the holiest place on earth. They like ordain new popes there and shit like that. It's so holy that I can't even prove I was there because I don't have a selfie because they don't let you take selfies in there. Anyway, when I was in there, Foxy Roxy adjusted a bag on her shoulder and her right tit popped out. Now, I do not know if God saw it or not, but I'm pretty certain he did because he was looking down at me from the ceiling from this amazing big picture that one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles painted. And I don't know if God subscribes to the theory of guilt by association. But I do not want to turn up at the pearly gates and risk being condemned to the fires of eternal hell. Or worse still, purgatory. I'd listen to more jazz if I wanted to do that. Sorry, Claire. Anyway, eventually the universe did deliver for me in the form of my mortgage bill, and I realised I had to get a proper job. So the job market's changed since I first joined the army. Back then I popped into the careers office and somebody said to me, do you want to join the army? I said, yes, please, and that was that. But somebody said to me, no, Jill, you've got to go online nowadays to get a job. So that's what I did. I went online, and I went on all the main job sites. I went on LinkedIn. I went on Monster Jobs. I went on Indeed. I went on Right Job. I went on Right Move. I went on Tinder. I went on Hinge. I went on Unhinged. And I went on www.ratemyfeet.com. Are you laughing, Sue? That one was quite lucrative. There's a few bunion perverts out there that paid quite substantial sums of money for pictures of my feet. Anyway, I was on there one day and I saw the job for me. I thought, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. It said, train to be a celebrant. And so that's what I do now, ladies and gentlemen. I am a celebrant. And for those of you that don't know what a celebrant is, it means that I create and officiate non-religious, because of the Vatican, naming ceremonies, weddings, and funerals. So if any of you here are due to get hatched, matched, or dispatched in the near future, please come and see me, because I'm doing a special Matt Phreds 20% off deal. Now then, people often ask me, when they find out that I'm a celebrant and that I'm also a veteran, why I chose this line of work. And I tell them that it was a calling, that I saw it and I thought, what an amazing thing to be a real part of someone's special day, to be there when someone gets married or when they name their child, or to be there when deliver a celebration of life ceremony at the end of something. It's a real calling for me. It's a vocation. The truth is, I didn't really read that job advert properly. And I accidentally trained to be a celebrant. Now you might not be able to tell, but I have a neurological brain disorder called ADHD. And what that means is that I don't often pay attention to detail, and I am quite impulsive. What that means in terms of my job hunt is that what I thought that job description said that day was trained to be a celibate. Now, I'm a middle-aged married mum of 3 teenage boys, and I thought that sounded like quite an attractive offer, I can tell you. So you can imagine my disgust on my first day at work when I had to turn up and lead a lovely funeral ceremony for quite a nice old gentleman called Frank, and still go home and give my husband his quarterly scene too. But honestly, it's not bad, my husband. I can't really complain. He's actually been through a bit of an identity crisis himself recently. He's still in the army after getting out and coming back in all those years ago. And recently, he has become an officer. Ooh, I see we have some military people in the house who understands the importance of that. But I know that you're not all military, and you might not know what an officer is. So I'll explain to you. The army is a large organisation, and like many organisations, it has its workers and it has its managers. Its managers are the officers. The officers are generally privately educated, or they may come from an aristocratic background. For example, William and Harry were officers. Otherwise known as Ruperts. Julian, what have I told you about trying to steal my set? Jesus Christ. So... The soldiers are predominantly drawn from working class backgrounds, usually in the northwest of England, and they usually grew up on council estates. Now then, some of you in this room will be really surprised to hear this, but when I joined the army, I joined as a soldier. I did. I wasn't always as classy and sophisticated. I wasn't, no. When I joined the army, I grew up in a town called Blackburn, on a council estate that once featured in a lovely panorama documentary called Trouble on the Estate. And the tagline was, the worst place to grow up in the United Kingdom. It was lovely. You've heard the term rough diamond, Julian. Do you know the term rough diamond? I was more of a scabby pebble back then, honestly. When I joined the army, I was living in substandard accommodation on a deprived estate, earning minimum wage. And the army gave me lots of opportunities to improve my social standing in life. Well, in fact, I was still living in deprived on a deprived estate in substandard accommodation for the most part, but I had lots of opportunities to become this classy and sophisticated lady that you see before you today. I really did. However, when my husband promoted to officer, something else happened. It meant that I became a member of a specific club called the Officers' Mess. Now, the Officers' Mess is, I suppose, I'd say gentleman's club or sort of an old boys' club. They have lots of functions he's expected to attend, lots of dinners. And when he was invited to his first dinner, I was, first of all, really, really excited. But secondly, I was a little bit uncomfortable thinking that I might need to fit in, and I didn't want to embarrass him, Julian, I didn't want to embarrass him. Because despite being this classy and sophisticated, somewhere lurking in here still is that council estate northern woman. So I decided to ask my friend for advice. She's also an officer's wife, and she's been an officer's wife, you know, forever and a day. And I thought she'll be able to tell me how I should behave in the officer's mess and give me some reassurance. So when I asked Felicity said to me, she said, darling, don't worry, we've got this. You will be absolutely fine as long as you pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. She said, first of all, you cannot go in there and introduce yourself as Gill. That's far too bloody common. She said, you must call yourself Gilly. Only Gilly will do. Just tell everybody that you're called Gilly. She said, also, darling, do not walk about telling people that you are from Chorley. They will not approve. You need to tell them that you're from Charley, darling. Charley. And she said, and you cannot go to the bar and ask for your usual Lambrusco. Oh, no, sweetheart, you'll get far too many dirty looks. You need to ask for something different, something red and rich and full-bodied and fruity. And then she gave me some advice on what I should wear when I went to the officers' mess as well. It was really lovely, and I thought that I was really prepared. Didn't go well, Emma. It didn't go well at all. I'm not sure if it started to go wrong when I went to the bar and asked for a pint of Vimto, or if it's because I grossly misunderstood what she meant when she said to me, make sure you turn up wearing a pearl necklace. I'm not allowed back in. And I did want to do what was right for my Mark, I really did, because he stood by my side through some of my darkest times. A few years ago, I don't want to bring the tone down, Emma. A few years ago, I did something else that was bang on trend. I was diagnosed with the big C. The big C. No, don't worry, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't COVID, it was just a little bit of cancer. And I had the big C. And as you can imagine, the big C is a big life-changing thing. And it led to a diagnosis as well of PTSD. And as I already said earlier, I've been diagnosed recently with ADHD. And that's led me to the biggest identity crisis of all that I'm facing at the moment. With the big C, ADHD and PTSD, I don't know whether to identify as a shithand at Scrabble or a countdown conundrum. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Gill. Thank you so much for your laughter. I am the final performer today, and so I would like to invite back on stage all of my other amazing performers, starting with the amazing Nicki. Emma, if you could come back up. And this morning's three amazing, brand new performers. And also, we would like to welcome back to the stage Sue and Lydia. Thank you. Over to you, Sue.